Hello guys, thank you for tuning in today to this exciting episode of Max Moto 365. Well, to be honest with you, this one isn't particularly exciting. We are talking about how to secure your motorbike from bike thieves. So, there is no real one-size-fits-all solution to this problem, but some of the measures that you can take are disc locks, and they go off with movement. They've got ways of getting around these things though. Big thick chains. A lot of people have a disc lock and a chain and they think, do you know what, I've got a huge chunky chain, there's no way that anyone's going to be able to cut through that. And that's maybe true if they've got some medium sized bolt croppers, but the problem is most thieves are going around in mopeds and blitzing through chains with battery powered angle grinders, and no matter how thick your chain is, the simple fact of the matter is it just cuts through steel, and within 1 or 2 minutes your bike is going to be gone. Light lock and I believe hip lock have angle grinder resistant locks. I'll try and find one to put in the description for you guys, because I think every motorcyclist should have one of these locks. And basically it has barium, I know in the light lock anyway, and what that does is it makes the lock highly angle grinder resistant, and you have to use multiple blades of an angle grinder to be able to cut through a lock. And time is money. If you slow these people down, the more risk they have to take, and that's the way that they work. Risk, the risk reward benefit, and time is literally money. If you can get them to slow down enough where they can be caught, enough where it's going to be too long of a job to be an effective deterrent, because these people are working for minimal risk for maximal reward. I say working, it's not like they've got a proper job. But anyway, let's not digress. So I have seen some people with these angle grinder resistant locks, and they put them through the discs or the spokes, and most bike thieves are not selling your bike, but they're actually breaking it down for parts. So all they'll do is they'll just cut a section of the disc lock off and remove the lock, or if the lock is in between the spokes, they'll just remove some of the spokes themselves. So what I suggest that you do is have a disc lock, have a chain, and have a light lock or a hip lock, and put it through the front wheel and encompass the entire wheel if you can, and that way they have simply no way of rolling the bike. Most thieves, the way that they work is they will simply kick your motorbike along with their feet and use a scooter as power, or just push it. So the only people, if you have an angle grinder proof lock and you use it in the manner I've described, that can steal your bike, are professional thieves that have vans. So that's going to narrow down the pool of potential thieves that could steal your bike. Having a cover is important too, and you might just blow the advice off of, yeah, get a cover, but if you get one that integrates with the lock and you feed it through and secure it through the chain at the rear, now the thief has to carry a battery proof angle grinder, spare blades, and on top of all that they've got to have a knife to cut the cover. So if you can make the job as hard as possible for them to have multiple tools, it's really going to stand you in good stead, guys. So that's my advice for everybody to get one of these locks. Don't rely on insurance, because how much is your excess? And how much is a light lock? I know they can be expensive. I think I paid £150 for mine, but it's nothing compared to the increased cost in premiums. And I think a tracker has some benefits as well. The good thing about some of the trackers is they can give you a movement detected notification, and that's an interesting thing to have, because you can go out and deal with any problems, or, you know, we'll not get too much down that rabbit hole of what we would do if we found someone stealing our bike. But then again, what you've got to consider with a tracker is sometimes they can have a little bit of a drain on the battery, so you will have to keep your battery topped up with a charger. One thing to bear in mind with trackers is what a lot of thieves do is they park a bike up somewhere in a neutral location, shall we say, and just wait to see if anyone recovers it, to check that there's not a tracker on it. So that's one thing that you can consider as well. I lived in London until recently, and I think there was 2 occasions on which my bike was scouted, and I know this because the cover was raised and the clip was undone, and I think they had a look at the bike, seen the amount of locks that were on it, and just thought, do you know what, this isn't worth the hassle, let's go to an easier target. I did see a while back that there was a gentleman that had a collection of motorcycles in his garage, and to secure them he wired up a baby camera, so if there was any movement on the baby camera he would get an immediate notification to his phone. So that could be something to bear in mind as well. I guess to recap, buy a disc lock, buy a big chain, try and get a ground anchor if you can, get a cover. I recommend Oxford Stormex, I'll put a link in the description as well, and hopefully that will help a few of you new riders out. And just remember that just because you've got a big chain, your bike isn't safe. Just be very careful if you're getting followed home. So if you have, you know, a car that's tailing you, or a particularly dodgy looking van, just do a lap of the block and see if it's following you. You don't want to get followed by a bike thief back to where you park your bike. I think another thing I would add as well is if you keep your bike out of sight, out of mind, that's some of the best security you can have, because if you're going to leave it parked somewhere on a busy high street or in view of a busy road, people are going to see it, and the wrong people are going to see it. So it is a sad consideration that you have to really have secure parking.